Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. You know where you are, the 9 at 9 with me, Tigo. And today I've got a question for you. Have you ever wondered how major companies expand their staff, but don't really have to worry about how they're expanding their staff because they have the best consultants connecting them with the best employees around the world? I've wondered that. And now I've got Frank coming up, and he can tell you exactly how he can connect you with the perfect employee from around the globe. Sound interesting? I think so. Sit right there. We'll be right back. Hey, you heard me right. I've always wondered how they did that. How does the big companies expand the way they do or start really small? Like Microsoft started in the garage, Apple started in the garage, and now they're multi-billion, multi-trillion dollar companies. How did they do that without knowing the right staff to connect with? Well, now I got the answer because Frank Salas is here. Hey, Frank, what's happening?
What's up, everybody?
How are you, man? So, really, seriously, how does somebody do that? If you're a small to medium business and you're a manufacturer or something, and you just try to find the right general manager or maybe floor manager, you can help them with that?
Absolutely. The answer is to steal talent from the world's biggest brands. That's the answer.
Okay, so the cops aren't coming to get us, are they?
Not at all. This is totally legal. It happens all the time. A lot of employees are looking for opportunities. A lot of employers, a lot of smart employers actually are stealing talent from companies like Microsoft, Apple, Nike, Airbnb, DoorDash. All these big companies, they invest millions of dollars into onboard, train their staff, and smart, small and medium-sized businesses that are on the come up, that are in hypergrowth, they steal them and put them inside of their hyper-growth businesses. That's what they do.
So I know that, I have headhunters hunting me down all the time. And I know that they actually go to colleges and find the cream of the crop, and bring them over. And you're right. They train, all these big companies train them and get them exactly where they want them. But then how do you, without giving away the secret sauce, how do you know who they are and know how to steal them?
Yeah, so it's all a numbers game. Number one, you just have to go out there and have many opportunities. We have recruiters on 5 continents. That's North America, South America, Africa, Asia, and Europe. And we actively recruit. We actively slide in those DMs. We're actively calling them, hey, did your boss be mean to you today? Were they nice to you today? So eventually, they're going to say, you know what? I'm looking for an opportunity. I got passed up for a promotion. It happens a lot, especially with our female talent overseas. So we specialize in stealing talent in Latin America, Caribbean, Africa, Middle East, Eastern Europe, and Asia. So a lot of those cultures are a little backwards. They don't have much opportunity at the mid and senior level for women. And, if they don't want them, we want them because they're talented. They're not giving an opportunity. And they're like, hey, I'm with this big company, but there's more opportunity for me in the small and medium-sized business that is growing.
So what happens from the other side? What if there's somebody watching it right now and say, hey, they're talking to me. They're in, Africa, they're in New Zealand or Philippines, and they're going, yeah, I know that I'm not being treated fairly. I don't have the kind of, growth opportunity that I would normally have if I was a guy or if I was in America. And they manage to see this episode and they go, how do I get to Frank? How do I tell him I'm the one he's looking for?
Just go to salastaffing.com. We take applications all the time. Even go to my LinkedIn, send me a message. My executive assistant will put you in our recruiting program. We get thousands of applications per day, sometimes per hour. And it's just like, overwhelming because there's so many people who want to work for American companies. America is the American dream. Everybody believes America has the best this and the best that. And so it's a very marketable opportunity. And it's also just a good opportunity for people in America to leave most lazy, entitled, workforce and hire somebody who's hungry, who's got that work ethic, who wants to strive versus who wants to just exist, who might sue you, who might show up to work a little bit smoking something that they shouldn't be smoking, who, it happens. And they file unemployment. American employees file unemployment. They do everything they can to get fired, and then they file unemployment. They call it fun employment. And for the next 2 years, the government's sponsoring their vacations. They're buying Jordans. They're paying for their Netflix and Disney Plus. That's the average attitude that is in America. On the flip side, people overseas in emerging nations, second and third world countries, they're hungry, they're hardworking, they want it.
So if you're a small or a mid-sized business and you go, I know he's talking to me, but I'm not really sure. I know we're missing pieces, but I'm not sure what pieces we're missing. Can you help them with that too?
Yeah, absolutely. Salas Staffing is actually a pretty deep and wide company. We don't just specialize in staffing or even recruiting. That's the very tippy tip of the iceberg. We actually find talent on your behalf. We screen them. We have our own proprietary training program to make sure they have good internet, good Wi-Fi, good professional structure around them. But most importantly, there's a culture gap. Being on time in America versus being on time in Jamaica or Latin America or Europe or Africa or Asia, those are two different things. And before somebody goes over to our American employers, we help them understand the American pace, the American standard, and the American work ethic so that doesn't become an issue. Because when people start to overseas, and they might use a term like virtual assistant, to us, a virtual assistant is actually a curse word. Nobody is allowed to say virtual assistant because that implies a lower quality. If you want a VA or a virtual assistant, go to Fiverr, go to Upwork, work with those people. We have sophisticated talent. I'm talking art director from Nike, creative director from Coca-Cola. These are the top talent people that we're working with. We're working not with the top percentage of people in the world. We're working with the top 0.05 caliber people in the world per position.
Okay, so now he's talking to me because that's the first thing I said to him this morning is that, do you work with virtual assistants? And he was like, and it completely corrected me. So everybody knows I don't hide anything. I'm 100% transparent. So he's talking to me. Now, back to the show. I want to ask about somebody because people now, I'm going to be 59 in a couple of weeks. And it's like the idea of being able to work internationally, be able to work overseas or do something like that. Do you help in the reverse? Help skilled people that want to work in other countries?
Not at all. Not at all. Our specialty is American companies that are in hyper growth. We want to supply them with the world's best talent from Fortune 5,000 companies, the world's biggest brands. And we want to steal them and put them inside of companies. We also help with the onboarding, the implementation. We help build out operations manuals. So when that person's get there, they know exactly how to add value.
Okay, so before we get any further, because Alan's going to cut us off in a minute, I know he is. I want to ask you, the companies that are out there, tell them again, how do they get in touch with you? And what's your cutoff? It's like, are you only looking for mid-management and up? Tell them that one more time.
Yeah, so actually we like our profile are small to medium-sized businesses that are in hyper growth. If you have a winning business model and you're like, I've got something here, but I can't afford talent in America because the economics don't work out, we can build an entire department of whatever you need for less than the cost of one American employee. The average American salary is about $60,000 per year. The average salary outside of America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK is about $12,000 per individual. And this is for sophisticated talent with degrees. Some of them have MBAs. These are legit kind of people from big companies that you use like Microsoft, L'Oreal, Airbnb, Uber, Apple. That is what those billion-dollar companies pay overseas in the overseas market. That's how they stay profitable. And if it's good enough for those companies, it's probably good enough for your small and medium-sized business.
Wow, I know the 2-minute warning just went by. And before we get cut off, can you tell people how you got into this in the first place? You didn't just wake up one day and go, you know what, I want to steal employees from Apple.
Yeah, so I'm a lifelong entrepreneur. I'm 35 now. I started my first business at the age of 20, and I couldn't afford American talent. I then started outsourcing in 2008. My first hire was a receptionist for $400 a month, and a receptionist in America is like $3,000 a month. And so that was a
Yeah.
huge difference that allowed me to scale my first business. And so I've been doing that for myself and other people since 2008.
Wow. Okay. Tell everybody one more time how they get in touch with you.
SalasStaffing.com. You can also get some free game by following me on Instagram at Talented Mr. Salas, as well as TikTok and YouTube at Talented Mr. Salas.
You are the best, sir. I thank you so much for coming on, hanging out, and really sharing information I have never heard. I know my audience is going to be going, I got to get in touch with that guy. Thank you for hanging out with me.
Thank you so much.
All right, everybody, you know what to do. If you didn't get a chance to write it down, go to tigodirect.com, type in Frank, type in staffing, type in, small to mid-sized business. He's coming up. Send him a message. He'll be glad to hear from you. It costs you nothing. It costs him nothing. It's just our way to connect you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I want you to come back next time. And as always, I'm Tigo. I'll talk to you next time.